Sup, guys. We're here for the TheCouncilNetwork. Let's talk about Invasion, part number 3 of the Fortnite crossover. And this was the Arrow-centric episode of it. And Arrow's 100th episode. And I'd like to take a moment and say to the cast of Arrow, congratulations on 100 episodes. That is a triumph all in its own. So, there are a few things I have to talk about when it comes to Arrow. I may not cover it all in this video. And next week after, when when everything's on break, and well, actually the week after next, when everything is on break, I'll probably bring it up then if I don't bring it up here. But main focus of the story was the Dominators, and pretty much what we predicted was going to happen is that Oliver was in a coma of sorts and just reliving his life if the events played out differently, and they were if he didn't get on the Queen's Gambit, which was an interesting take. And we saw a lot of older, like fan favorites like Deathstroke and Malcolm and that guy Damien Dark we don't talk about. Now, I'm going to be jumping all over the place with this review, but one thing I want to bring up, and I saw a lot of complaints about online, was the fact that Thea, this is like the dream sequence kind of thing, when they're in the tubes, Thea shot off an arrow to Sarah, and Sarah caught the arrow and to stab Damien Dark. The reason for that, if you guys don't completely understand that, the easiest way to explain it is it's so she gets what she wants, that revenge kill, without having to screw up the whole timeline. And it's kind of funny in this episode, because if you watch last night's episode of The Flash, where, Oliver said to him, well, if anyone was in your shoes, I'd give up everything to have my parents back, and I would make the same choice. So don't feel bad, because, I would have done the same thing. And we actually get to see him at peace to some degree and have to make that choice. Do I want to stay here or not? Also, another thing I saw was the thing with Thea. The thing with Thea, honestly, she's at a point she's not a vigilante anymore. She doesn't have, the craziness of her life. She just wants to be normal. That's been shown throughout Season 5 in these first couple of episodes. And there's also one other big thing we have to get to in this review, but or discussion, however you want to phrase that. And honestly, I think everyone's arc paid off here. Ray just wants a happy life. Diggle wants to be able to protect his family, even if that's being a vigilante. It's kind of like, just what's going on now. The one thing I really do have to bring up right now is Artemis. She was nowhere near, this episode. And last week's, we found out she was working with, of course, Prometheus. And again, I was on break at that time from, doing any videos. And I'll talk more about it, next week or whatnot when we do that bonus video. Now, here's the thing. I think that pretty much confirms that she's been working with him to some degree. And something's going to happen next week with her. Because it's a mid-season finale and they want to do something big. Like The Flash, we pretty much know something's going to happen to Iris. Whether she dies or not, I don't know. I hope not. But at the same time, it's a mid-season finale. You kind of come to expect it with certain things. And if we're talking frank, I think Artemis is going to bite the bullet this season. She's going to be the one to go, and I have no problem with it at this point. Because she's just been a pain in the ass. Wild Dog has grown on me episode after episode. After 2 weeks ago, when I took the break, that's when he started growing on me. The moment he had with Diggle and everything, that was just fantastic. And even in this episode, he goes, from hating metahumans for whatever reason because they have the power of gods and he wants nothing to do with it because things get out of control, to absolutely thanking the Flash and Supergirl for being there and having the powers that they do. Even though that Supergirl is technically not a metahuman and, Barry technically is. But there is one thing, again, I do have to mention, and I know I talked about this on the Flash review, and for those of you who are just tuning in for the Arrow stuff, well, you should watch The Flash. It's really good. I'm not going to call Arrow bad. It's a really good show that you should be watching. I think most people do, but to the point, you can still see that relationship between Cisco and Barry is still weighing down. That's going to play out in the mid-season finale of The Flash. I just feel it happening. I'm calling all the shots right now for everything. I am going to be the guy who calls it all. But in my personal opinion, I think next week what we're going to see on Arrow, we're not going to see the vigilante thing come at it. We're going to, hopefully we'll find out, us the viewers, we'll find out who Prometheus is, and we won't have to wait too much longer, or just clues to it. Everyone's, thinking maybe it's Tommy, maybe it's this one, maybe it's that one. I don't really know. But here's the thing. The actor who plays Tommy obviously wasn't on this episode because they name drop, oh, he's in Chicago being a medical doctor. And if you look up the actor who plays Tommy from season 1, well, he's actually on a show called Chicago MD. If I'm not mistaken, I may be getting the names screwed up. But he plays a doctor on that show, which I thought was really funny. That it's a nice, throw to him. Like, hey, we still know you're still part of the Arrow family. I think Colton Haynes couldn't be there or something. But in the end, they basically used like old footage or whatnot. Probably got his okay and just made it happen, which was, again, pretty cool when they go through the portal. I know Arrow was supposed to be more grounded, and this episode is like so fucking out there. But to be fair, it needed to be because it's a 4-night crossover. They're fighting aliens, and I know Green Arrow is not really the kind of like hero you want to have when it comes to it, but hey, it is what it is. Also, props to having Laura Lance back. It was nice to see that moment of her and Oliver together. I know there's a part of the fan base that's just like ripping their hair out of their head, just fucking beyond pissed on Twitter. I saw it and I was dying of laughter. Feels good. That's all I'm gonna say about it. But yeah, I gotta be frank. We still don't know how Laurel's coming back. Apparently she is. We still don't know how she's coming back. Maybe it'll be with the new League of Assassins, because that's supposed to be in episode 10, and hopefully we'll get some sort of hint about that in the season finale, and before she's Prometheus, right? Like, you just, no. Please no. There's going to be a lot going on tonight, when I upload this. There's going to be Legends of Tomorrow, which is going to finish this 4-night season, near season finale. It's not season finale. The 4-night crossover, and I'm really excited to see how it plays out. If I had any complaints about this episode, if we're talking frank, it's probably the fact that I know it's Arrow's 100th and they wanted to focus more on Arrow characters, but I guess I wanted to see more of Supergirl interacting with the Arrow crew. Maybe we'll get that tomorrow night. I'm just really hoping it, because it just feels like if they would have done more stuff going into Supergirl, like she was an episode ahead, just had that extra week, then they could have had the payoff a lot better than what it was. But that's just my personal take on it. It is what it is. But as the 100th episode of Arrow, it felt great. I love those moments. Also, I think it was Sarah who got the kill on the Deathstroke, quote unquote, even though that's not typically the actor who played Deathstroke. And let's be frank, they didn't really have to have the actor who played Deathstroke, because you could put anyone under the whole Deathstroke stuff and just make it happen. But I like how the Dominators are being used. I like how they escaped from the ship pretty much, and actually having the two, Legends of Tomorrow being on that ship. The Wave Rider pretty much played into why they weren't there in the beginning. So that was pretty cool, but again, I want to see more of Team Flash and a little more of, Supergirl, because we didn't have Team Supergirl quite yet. That's still being formed. To some degree, I guess. To the point, it was also really cool seeing two major throwbacks. One is the workout with Wild Dog on the... I don't know what they call it, but the pipes. It's just a nice throwback to Season 1, and the other thing would probably be Diggle under the hood costume. I thought that was pretty funny, to say the least. But what reason would he have to be the hood? Also, Felicity still got to be there, right? She's still got to be the IT girl that's just beyond the computers helping the vigilante and everything. But if I want to talk about anything else, it was just a trip down memory lane to what made Arrow great and what has kept Arrow on TV for so long. Granted, I know the past 2 seasons have been kind of but season 5 is cracking up to be one hell of a fucking season so far. And I'm open to the idea that we're going to get one hell of a mid-season finale. And hopefully be talking about it into the next couple of weeks, going into whenever, it comes back on air. I don't know. I wanted a little more from the 4-night crossover, but this felt like an Arrow episode and more comic booky at the same time. Like, parts of it felt more what you get in Arrow Season 5, and the rest of it just felt more... The cyborg lady thing, I was just like, you're losing me a little bit. Just a little bit, you're losing me. Just a little bit. Just a tiny bit. But still good. Now, if I had to give it a score, 8.5 out of 10. Wasn't nearly as good as The Flash, because that was the whole big setup in Team Flash, and we're excited to Savitar and Wally. I still want to see Wally play more into this. I know he's probably down for the count at the moment, and they're just going to put him to the side and let everyone else do it. And next year he'll be in the big crossover. It is what it is. But like I said, tonight when this goes up, that's when I'll be able to judge the whole thing as an entire 4-night crossover event. And the ratings have been through the roof, so very happy for CW. Very happy for the guys and the girls who make all 4 shows, because they are incredible regardless. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoy the content, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more. And also, if you're already subscribed, because there is a problem going on with YouTube, subscription feeds and whatnot, make sure to drop a like and a comment, so that way it keeps you, keeps the videos coming out if you actually enjoy my content. But thank you guys so much, and I'll see you later. Peace.